Hey, good morning, guys. Well, we know that 4 officers responded to this call last night, and 2 of those officers fired their weapons and have been placed on administrative leave. They shot the suspect multiple times. He was later pronounced dead at the hospital. Austin Police Chief Brian Manley spoke to the media yesterday during a press conference, and he said this incident started with a check welfare call. It came in just before 5 last night from the Spring condominiums located on Bowie and West 3rd Street. The caller said their neighbor was banging loudly on the emergency exit doors and that they were concerned he was having some kind of mental breakdown. The first officer arrived within minutes and started gathering information. Staff told that officer the man lived in the building and was holding a large knife to his throat walking around. At first, he was outside of the building, but then came inside, got onto the elevator, and went to the gym on the 5th floor. Officers immediately went in the elevator, and as the doors opened, the man was standing just outside of it across a very narrow hallway.
And as they began giving him commands, he turned around. It appears on the video he's initially holding what is a very large kitchen knife, a larger kitchen knife to his throat. He then pulls it down more towards his side and begins walking towards the officers. As he takes a step or two towards the officers, 2 of the officers fired their duty pistols and 1 officer fired a taser.
Chief Manley says the exchange of gunfire was captured on camera, worn by the officers. 2 of them have been placed on administrative leave, and all we know right now about the suspect is that he was 46 years old. Yeah, 4 officers responded to this call and say a man approached them with a knife. That's when 2 of the officers shot the suspect multiple times. Yesterday afternoon, Austin Police Chief Brian Manley held a press conference to give us more information about what happened. He says his incident started with a check welfare call. It came in just before 5 o'clock last night here at the condos located on Bowie and West 3rd Street. The caller said their neighbor was banging loudly on the emergency exit doors and that they were concerned he was having some kind of mental breakdown. The first officer arrived minutes later and started gathering information. Staff told the officer the man lived in the building and was holding a large knife to his throat walking around. At first, he was outside of the building but came inside, got on the elevator, and went to the gym on the 5th floor. Officers immediately went in the elevator, and as the doors opened, the man was standing just outside of it across a very narrow hallway. Chief Manley goes on to say that those 2 officers who fired their weapons have been with the department for 5 years, and both of them have been placed on administrative leave while the investigation continues. Hey, good morning, guys. Yeah, that shooting happened at these condos directly behind me. We know that 2 officers fired their weapons and they've been placed on administrative leave while this investigation continues. But yesterday afternoon, Austin police say that they responded to this complex here downtown after receiving a call of a man having a mental crisis and banging on doors. According to the security guard at the scene, the suspect was holding a knife to his throat. When officers arrived, he got onto an elevator within the complex and went to the gym on the 5th floor. Police say they were able to see him at that moment on surveillance video inside the gym while he was waving the knife at the camera. The responding officers quickly moved up into the elevator, and as the doors opened, the man was standing there and they started giving him commands to drop the knife. Chief Manley says that's when the man moved the knife from his throat to his side and began walking towards the officers. As he did this, 2 officers fired their weapons and 1 used a taser.
And I do want to take a moment really to express our heartfelt condolences to the family of the deceased here today. Again, it was someone who apparently was in some level of mental crisis that drew us out here today and resulted in the scene that played out behind us in this condominium tower.
Now, the man was later pronounced dead at the hospital. He was 46 years old, and at this time, police have not identified him. Back to you. Hey, good morning, guys. A total of 4 officers responded to this call and say the man approached them with a knife. That's when 2 of those officers fired multiple times at the suspect. Yesterday, Austin Police Chief Brian Manley held a press conference to talk about how this incident started. He said it all began with a check welfare call.